Sure. Actually, because the other one's outside, she was going to go first. We're going to have Carrie Busey come on up, and we're switching. So come on up to the table if you like, or you can do the podium. And while they're getting ready, just a reminder, this is closing out our school spotlights. We've been doing them the entire year. We have our last two out of our 18 campuses that are presenting their school improvement work related to the strategic plan with the new Focus Schools work combined in there. So I am going to just toss it right over to Principal Craig Keir.
Perfect, thank you. Was it something I said? Good evening, Dr. Boozer, Dr. Baker. Nice to see you, not in the car rider line today, and the Board of Education. We're thrilled to be presenting Carrie Busey's Spotlight presentation tonight. My name is Craig Keir. I'm the proud principal of Carrie Busey, and I'm joined by Brian Alexander, our assistant principal, and Nikki Huckstad, our social worker. Michelle Trueblood and Mrs. Davis and Mrs. Beth Davis are on well-deserved vacations, so we told them they didn't have to be here and cut their vacation short, but they're also chairpersons on our SIL teams. Our teachers and staff work tirelessly alongside our supportive families and our amazing PTA to benefit all of our students. We are proud of our work and our achievement at Carrie Busey, but know that every child, every day, takes a committed effort to continual improvement. Do I get a clicker? All right, perfect. I'm used to these things. We'll see. Oh, I'm going to go backwards. The demographics of Carrie Busey are as follows. They've been pretty steady over the last few years, especially since COVID. 46% of our students are white, 23% of our students are black, roughly 6% are Hispanic, 13% are Asian, and 11% are two or more races. As I said before, the demographics have been relatively stable for the last 5 years.
All right. So we have decided that our targeted learning focus for next year will be read to know, write to show. So this means that Carrie Busey students will decode and comprehend text. This will be accomplished through systematic and explicit instruction in phonics and phonemic awareness in conjunction with fluency, comprehension, and vocabulary. We spent a lot of time with our staff trying to decide what that learning focus should be. The staff narrowed it down to 3, and then we came down to 1, which was the read to know, write to show. We know it's important for our students to be able to decode and comprehend, and we look forward to implementing CKLA with the same fidelity, if not better, than we did when we adopted the Wonders program. In our partnership with Focus Schools, our teaching staff prioritized and selected the following Hattie research-based strategies: classroom discussion, planning and predicting, and prior knowledge to focus on. These 3 strategies all have twice the effect size as an average year's growth. And although these are strategies that we do use on a daily basis, we're going to take a deep dive this year into classroom discussion to allow us to implement it with fidelity and help our students increase their knowledge and growth.
Thank you. From our Illinois Assessment of Readiness, or the acronym IAR from State of Illinois, we've learned that our proficiency rates for students are meeting and exceeding standards in math is 49%, and in ELA it's 48%, and our growth rates are at 57% in ELA and 54% in math. All of these rates are higher than the district and state averages. We have, the last school year for 2022, we are listed as a commendable school. Previously, 3 previous years, we were listed as an exemplary school in 2018, 2019, and 2020. 2021, they did not give any summative designations at all. We examined the statistics and learned that our chronic absentee rate in 2021-22 school year was at 18.6%, which was 14% higher than the last 6 years that we had absentee rates. That makes sense during COVID and looking at the parameters that we had when we were here at school during that school year. Using our state's calculations, we would have been designated exemplary status if our absentee rate had been the same as one of the previous 6 years I mentioned. Our absentee rate for this current past school year was considerably down and is under 5% again. So we look forward to that. Looking through, The arrow button's been so used, it's not there anymore. All right. Looking through our NWA MAP scores, and we use these pretty regularly with all of our staff and also our students. We have data days that are 3 times a year when we meet with individual teachers and grade level teachers. We use it in response to intervention meetings, and then throughout our interventionist days, we look at data all the time. We strive to increase growth and achievement of our students each and every year. As listed, we've had great growth in math and really moderate growth in ELA. Probably another reason why we're doing CKLA next year. We regularly do our student goal setting for all students in 2nd through 5th grade, and we do mention it for our kindergarten and 1st graders to get them ready before they're in 2nd grade. We're also always looking to reduce the number of students under the 20th percentile and under the 40th percentile in ELA and math, and we really want to increase our numbers in the 60 percentile and 80 percentiles. That 60 percentile to 70 percentile number is something that is indicative of college readiness and available for next level learners to be successful as they go into middle school and high school.
So if we break this down a little bit and we look at our Equity Silk Committee. There we go. Our focus for next year is to construct a list of academic activities to support all students in achieving read to know, write to show, especially for our underrepresented groups. So highlights from this year is the equity team did a book study on how to be an anti-racist, and they analyzed student data through MAP and Panorama for the underrepresented groups, and we used that data to better assist our RTI team and to differentiate instruction across the board. We also used it to make academic and SEL decisions, as well as something that Nikki will speak to in just a few minutes. Continuing with the equity SILT, what we're looking forward to is how can we support our school's goals and the focus. Some things that we've come up with that we are going to implement next year would be to create a volunteer program to read with students for our Bobcat Reading Club, especially serving those underrepresented groups, developing a system for our 2nd graders to have their 4th grade buddies helping them with math facts, and then explaining those strategies through writing, creating 2 different opportunities for students to write, and then we're also sending a team to attend the AVID Summer Institute to see how we can implement AVID on a daily basis. And all of this work is directly embedded to priority 1, instructional excellence of the strategic plan.
So I've had an opportunity to kind of help lead our SEL team this year, and it's one of 14 members that have all kind of been a multidisciplinary of teachers and specialists and things, and it's been great to get together. And one of the things that we've recognized is that we do a lot of great things, and so we want to make sure that we're continuing those great things and reestablishing after COVID what we can do to kind of go back to what we've always done great. Some of the things that we've really kind of rolled out this year is we've rolled out with the new digital 2nd step, which is much more culture responsive and much more. It goes along more with the way students learn these days. We've also taken a lot of data and looked at all of our panorama data to make decisions about what we need to do in order to help SEL students and what are they saying that they need. We also did a paw print challenge where we looked at all of our students and what looking into this, the second part of the year, how we can help encourage students to make great choices. We were able to have students earn 1,040 in a 5-week period of looking at things like being kind, being ready, working hard, and being safe. And so what a great celebration we were able to do to recognize students doing all the great things. Looking forward, how do we incorporate SEL into all of the things that go to our school's focus? And one thing that we're kind of rolling out and looking into is one book, one school, coming together with all of our students, reading the same book and having some school-wide discussions about that. Adding a Tier 1 instructional block for SEL and finding some things to not only incorporate that 2nd step digital curriculum, but also some morning meeting and things where we can also have some sense of belonging and improving those school connections. So.
Our teaching and learning school improvement team focused on the phonics or reading curriculum this year and unpacked the phonics videos by Wiley Blevins, who was the author of the phonics or reading program. Our focus next year, and as Dr. Boozer's regularly said, is that sometimes we go a mile wide and an inch deep, but I can guarantee you at Carrie BC next year we're going to go an inch wide and a mile deep in CKLA. We're going to be unpacking and looking at design units for CKLA curriculum and also providing professional development on research-based strategy of classroom discussing that Mr. Alexander talked about earlier.
And our last slide just shows that we earned the 2022 Best Elementary School in America. And so we just want to thank you for your time this evening. We're very proud of our achievements. We're looking forward to implementing our school's learning focus of read to know and write to show. And we just wondered if there's any questions.
Are there any questions?
One question. Your absenteeism is absolutely commendable. What do you attribute that to?
Lots of people ask us what makes Carrie Busey special. We do like thousands of little things well. It's not like one big program. It's not 10 big programs. I think we do a lot of outreach from our teachers. Our teachers are veteran teachers, do not leave very often, so we know families very well. And so when we have a new family to Carrie Busey, we do a good job of, our office does a good job of reaching out to them. We also, Mrs. Huckstadt and her team really makes connections with families that are struggling to get to school. And then we have teachers that regularly go to houses as much as possible. And I think that's pretty much what it is. I think it's the 1,000 little things that we do and make connections with families, make them feel comfortable. Some families have to, travel 7 miles away from, getting from the north side down to Carrie Busey in Savoy. So we try to go above and beyond for those families and those students.
Please, Ms. Vasquez.
I was excited to read about the Bobcat volunteering to read with the students. How do you plan to promote that? We've had some pretty incredible engagement with families across the community this year, and hearing about opportunities to volunteer is something we want to make sure we're promoting, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons you mentioned it. So how will you promote it, and how can we help you?
Sure. We have our obviously volunteer and mentor coordinators that we split with Bottenfield. She does a fantastic job. We have lots of our parents that are in the community that will do this. We have really good volunteerism, and we have a lot of U of I. We have at any given time 7 to 10 student teachers in our building, so we know that professional part, when teachers have to explain how to be teachers to other people, it's a very it's kind of a build upon thing where they actually have to really go above and beyond to do that. But for the volunteer part is just to get it out as much as possible. We revamped our book club this year, our Bobcat book club, with Mrs. Crow, our new librarian, who was a second grade teacher at Carrie Busey for many years. So that's been a huge success, and we've had a lot of our data is kind of incredible of how many books we've checked out to all different types of students, and it's been really successful. So we just want to have the students that might be underrepresented, or when their parents are working at home, to be able to have a volunteer read with them so they can participate in our program as well. So any positive information, or we do a lot of Twitter and Facebook with our PTA as well.
You do a great job with your media, getting stuff out there. I retweet you quite often.
Say.
Oh yeah, that's good. I don't do it all day, but it's just.
No, it's in the evening.
Yes. Any other questions? I will echo. I mean, you put the new logo. I've been leading up to this, and then you didn't even say it. The new logo that's on the. I saw
The new logo is. Ms. Moore is a little mad at me about the new logo, so it's okay.
Oh, we'll talk about that later. Oh,
Thank
you
you.
were supposed to warn me.
Thank you, Dr. Baker, for bringing that up.
Already in trouble, so we're gonna move to the next part, which. Oh gosh, I walked right into that one. We're gonna talk about that later. In terms of helping hands, I think something that's unique to Carrie Busey is the helping hands, and a lot of other schools are trying to figure out how to do that. I know that you do an excellent job in knowing the needs of families, and so I don't know if you want to say anything more about that.
I'd be happy to. There was a parent that is actually next year stepping down, and another one is going to be taking over, who had, whenever her first child was in our building, and before my time there, I've been there 6 years, had decided to come up with a outreach program of an email listserv of sorts, that if I find a need of a student or somebody reaches out, I reach out to this group of anonymous people saying, hey, I have a family that needs this. And she sends it out to everybody, and people volunteer willingly and generously. I had a family that was in need of some baby supplies. It was and that we just sent up, and I sent out a sign up genius to get some items, and it was mostly covered in 2 hours. It was incredible. Baby crib and all of the things that it was a high needs health situation, multilingual family. So just knowing our families and stuff, but I cannot thank our volunteer Heather Schultz enough for that, as she's helped over the last several years. So.
Thank you. There are several
And I'd be
teachers
happy
that
to help
donated as well. Yeah,
discuss that
exactly.
to other groups too, because I think it definitely brings our community together, and it helps families know that they can help other families within our building.
And I'm glad to hear that because that's something that we've been talking about across the district. So I'll probably have Dr. Harden reach out to you to see how that's working so we can maybe do it like a district piece or have other buildings that may need it as well. So always leading out. Thank you.
And I'll say, I think to add on to your question, Mr. Teese, about perfect attendance, I know that I have now a fifth grader, I think. I've got the report card. And he made sure that we were early for the fourth grade buddies program. So it encouraged many of them that had to get to school so that they were able to help the second graders. And so that definitely helps maybe some of those programs. Obviously, there is an issue about transportation, trying to get there a little bit early before school starts. But there is some of that. And I'd also say kudos to Carrie Busey. I know when I started there was a perfect attendance award. And we might have been the recipient of it, and we were super excited, but didn't realize the equity implications in something like that. And so within that, you all have been trying to think of other ways to encourage attendance of our students, recognizing that it can't happen all the time, every single time. And so definitely appreciative of the leadership in those ways and trying to make sure that all of our students are able to access the 5K, just other things. So thank you for the work that you're doing there.